right, viewers, for a moment, we shift our focus to some breaking news that is now coming in. The Prime Minister, as we understand, has spoken to U.S. President Donald Trump. This is a post that has now been put out by the Prime Minister on social media platform X. He says, and I quote, that he had a very warm and engaging conversation with President Trump. We reviewed the progress in our bilateral relations and discussed regional and international developments. India and the U.S. will continue to work together for global peace, stability, and prosperity. So viewers, that is the breaking news that we are getting in at the moment. A telephonic conversation that has taken place between Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump, President of the United States. The two leaders reviewed the progress in the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership and expressed satisfaction at the steady strengthening of bilateral cooperation across all domains. Prime Minister and the President underlined the importance of sustaining momentum in shared efforts to enhance bilateral trade. The leaders also exchanged views on expanding cooperation in critical technologies, energy, defense and security, and other priority areas that are central to the implementation of the India-US Compact for the 21st century. The leaders also discussed various regional and global developments and agreed to work closely to address shared challenges and advance common interests. The two leaders, as we understand, have agreed to remain in touch. That is the breaking news that we are getting in at the moment, viewers. Prime Minister Modi dialing US President Donald Trump. It comes just months after, in the wake of the tariff war. But we understand at this point in time that this has been a friendly conversation where the two leaders reviewed the progress of the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership and agreed to work in tandem towards a cause that is beneficial for both the nations in terms of trade, defense, technology ties, and a lot more. The two leaders also exchanged views on expanding cooperation in critical technologies, energy, defense, and security, and other priority areas that are central to the implementation of the India-US Compact for the 21st century. All right, viewers, while we try to gather more details, let's quickly put out the latest details that we're picking up on the contents of the conversation that has taken place between the Prime Minister and Donald Trump. The two leaders have essentially reviewed the progress in the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership and expressed satisfaction at the steady strengthening of bilateral cooperation across all domains. Prime Minister and President Trump underlined the importance of sustaining momentum in shared efforts to enhance bilateral trade. The leaders also discussed various regional and global developments and agreed to work closely to address shared challenges and advance common interests. This meeting, this telephonic conversation, viewers, comes at a critical time when a team of U.S. trade representatives is already in the national capital as we speak, in a bid to close in on the India-US FTA. Let's go across to Executive Editor Niranjan, who joins us live from the newsroom with more details on this.
Ayana, we have the full handout of the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister's office has given a detailed statement on what both leaders, Prime Minister Modi and US President Donald Trump, discussed. It was a phone call, a telephonic conversation, and that conversation took place a few minutes back. And from the handout, the PMO says the two leaders reviewed the progress in the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership, expressing satisfaction at the steady strengthening of bilateral cooperation across all domains. And the important sentence is here, where in the first paragraph, the PMO says both Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump underline the importance of sustaining momentum in shared efforts to enhance bilateral trade. So trade being the key word, underlining the importance of trade on a day when US trade team is in New Delhi to discuss a possible trade deal. And they are, of course, both India and America want to seal the trade deal. And India, of course, has been a hard nut to crack, as Trump says, because we have stuck to our ground, not allowing America to get the upper hand in the trade talks. And in the last few days, you've had several controversial comments coming from the likes of Donald Trump. The US president spoke about India's rice dumping. He called it rice dumping, referring to our basmati rice trade and exports to the US. But on the other hand, in different US House committees, you've had different Republicans, Democrats, bipartisan support for trade talks with India to progress, and how India is well prepared and is willing to go that extra mile if America is to be spoken to on fair terms and on equal terms, most importantly. And let me also tell you that from the Prime Minister's office, the details being handed out of the call, saying the leaders exchanged views on expanding cooperation in critical technologies, energy, defense, security and other priority areas that are central to the implementation of the India-US Compact, which is catalyzing opportunities for military partnership, accelerated commerce and technology for the 21st century. Interesting that the Prime Minister's office also mentions this. Interesting that both leaders discussed it, because just yesterday the US has also approved another multi-million-dollar, running into several hundreds of dollars of defense pact with Pakistan. So the timing of all of this is critical. Of course, on trade, the US trade team is here. On defense, India has just, finalized an order for helicopters with a huge American company. And Pakistan and America, of course, their ties have come into question. And the handout also saying the leaders discussed various regional, global developments and agreed to work closely to address shared challenges and advance common interests. The two leaders agreed to remain in touch. So that's a detailed, handout that's come in from the Prime Minister's office of the call between Donald Trump and our Prime Minister. I'm handing it back to you for now. And we'll keep a close track on the developments. Back to you for now.
Right. Thank you very much, Niranjan, for giving us those details. On your screens now, viewers, is the entire statement that has been released by the Prime Minister's office on what essentially transpired during the telephonic conversation between Prime Minister Modi and US President Donald Trump.